Hey y'all, I hadn't done a cooking video in a long time. I told y'all at my daily Bible reading video a minute ago that I was gonna cook something, but I didn't know what. Well, I decided what, so I'm gonna bring y'all along for a little cooking here. And look at what I'm cooking: okra out of my garden. I got it breaded with cornmeal, and I took 6 peppers out of my garden and chopped them up in here too. So I got the oil heating up here on the stove, and we're fixing to cook, y'all. So hang on, let me get this set down over here somewhere. If I can find a place on the stove where it'll sit. Looks like it ain't gonna work. It's not cooperating. There we go. All right, let me get this. I can't empty this and show y'all at the same time, but you can kind of look. Yep. I got this little slotted whatever doohickey that I use to stir it and pick it up after a while. It doesn't take it long to cook. I don't like my okra cooked to a crisp. I like it to still taste like okra, so it's not going to cook long. Let me, y'all hang on right there. I'm going to find something to put it in. I got this little bowl here. I'll put it in. It's got a lid on it, so whatever I don't eat, I can save it for breakfast in the morning. Except I don't ever eat breakfast. This is the first okra out of my garden I've eaten this year. I've picked a lot and froze a lot, but I hadn't eaten any. Now I'm gonna. It's going to be a good supper too, I guarantee you. Okra's good stuff. It's good. It's healthy for you too. When I was back in Texas on the Gulf Coast, I had okra stalks. The tallest I ever measured was 14 feet tall. Usually they were around 10 or 12 feet tall. That was the average. But one year I had one that was 14 feet. I think it was the last year before I moved up here. Down here they get about 4 feet tall. I've grown okra every year I've been up here. The first year, about 6 inches. And they produced okra on a 6-inch stalk. But that winter was cold. It snowed a lot and it was cold, and I imagine that's why, because okra likes hot weather. And this year we've had quite a few days over 90 degrees here, which I don't think we've ever had 90 degrees here since the 4 years I've been here until this year. We sure did this year, and I loved it. It reminded me of being back home in Texas, down on the Gulf Coast. All right, it's got to cook a while. Did y'all watch my daily Bible reading video? I did a lot of redneck ramble in it, and if y'all are not familiar with my channel, I have a special playlist just for redneck ramble, because I do a lot of that. I'm good at that. And I'm not a preacher. I'm not a teacher. I got saved at an old age. I was 51 years of age when I got saved, and that was a while back too. But God changed me. I was a good man. I had a very successful career life and all. Retired when I was 49, and got saved when I was 51. And I've been his ever since. I did a prison ministry right after I got saved. I started it, and I did that right up until COVID shut it down in 2020 or 2021, whenever that was, and that's when I sold out my place down there and moved up here. Everybody down there was going crazy because of COVID, and I didn't like it, so I just moved away from it. And I think I'm going to move again, y'all. I want to find several acres, like 10 or 15 or 20 acres, heavily wooded, and buy it. And then I'll sell this place where I'm at now. I paid cash for this house where I'm at now, and then I'll have money to build me a little cabin on that heavily wooded acreage wherever I find it. I found some over in West Virginia and Kentucky that I like. And I want to find some place. I don't want it as hot as the Texas Gulf Coast, but I don't want it as cold as this place. And if it snows once or twice a year, that'll be all right. But up here, snowing every day for 3 or 4 months, I don't like that. It looks pretty, but I like to get out and do stuff and go places. And I don't drive when it's snow and ice everywhere. So up here, that means I'm in the house a lot. I don't like that. I got a nice house. I like this house. I love this house. For me, for a single person or for 2 people, it's fine. It wouldn't really be good for a family, but for 1 or 2 people, it's good. This house was built in 1908, I think. Not 1908, maybe 1906, I forgot. But anyway, it had been totally renovated just before I bought it. The guy that bought it before me, or the guy that owned it before me, he totally renovated it. All new wiring, all new plumbing, all new flooring, all paint everywhere, new, and it was nice. And it's still nice. I like it. It's just 2 bedrooms, and 1 bedroom is the door that's always behind me when I'm sitting at the table doing my videos. That's a 2nd bedroom, but I use that room for all my home canned stuff and just storage, basically. And I got some home canned stuff sitting on the stove in here I need to put in there. I do a lot of home canning. And if I want something home canned that I don't grow myself, I'll go to the farmer's market and buy it. I don't think I did this year. Yeah, I did. I bought cucumbers at the farmer's market because I didn't grow any cucumbers this year. This was the first year in many, many years I didn't grow any tomatoes or cucumbers. The only reason I grow tomatoes is to make salsa, and I got enough salsa in there to last me 3 or 4 years probably. Plus I gave away a lot too. Well, I still got enough to last me a while, so I didn't grow any cucumbers or tomatoes this year. And cucumbers, always would grow them to make pickles. I make bread and butter pickles, and I make long kosher dill pickles. And my Shania girlfriend, she's just a female friend that I'm real close to. She's a doctor over in a big town south of here. She has a store downtown here also, a quilting store. Anyway, she wanted some homemade, home canned kosher dill spears. I had given her some several times over the last 4 years, and I didn't grow any cucumbers this year, and she wanted some, and I didn't have any, so I went to a farmer's market and bought a bunch of cucumbers and canned enough for her and me. She has 2 little sons. I can't remember. I think their ages 9 and 11, something like that. And she invites me to their baseball games and their football games and stuff, and I sit with her and we watch the game, and it's fun. I enjoy the heck out of that. I like getting out of the house, and I like sports, and watching those little guys play, it's something. And I'm always cooking stuff for her boys, you know, those Rice Krispie treats or fudge or whatever. And I made a bunch of Rice Krispie treats lately to give them, and her youngest son said, Stan is a good cook. They're pretty special. She had just got divorced just about the time I moved up here, and I moved up here in September of 2021, and at Christmas time downtown, and downtown's like 7 blocks over there. This is a tiny town I live in, and downtown on I can't remember, December 22nd, 23rd, something like that. They had small town Christmas, had a parade and everything, and they had a wagon pulled by horses that you could get up in a wagon and go for a ride. And so I stood in line. It was a big line to get on that wagon. And I stood in line and was going to ride that wagon, and there's this lady and 2 little boys standing in line behind me, and she started talking to me, and we talked the whole time till it was time for me to get on the wagon, and she didn't get to ride the same time as me. She had to wait for the next wagon. And anyway, the whole time we were standing in line, she was talking. And well, I didn't know anybody in town at that time. And I got on the wagon, went for my ride, and came home after that. And I didn't think any more about her. You know, I didn't know her name or anything. Just talked to her while I stood in line. And 2 days later, on Christmas Eve, I had somebody knocking at my door. And I went, and there's this woman and 2 little boys standing there, and she had a platter, a big platter she was holding, had homemade cinnamon rolls and homemade cookies and homemade muffins on it, and she made it and brought it for me. And I said, thank you a lot. You know, I was very appreciative. I like all that stuff. And there was a whole platter full of it. And she was just talking like we knew each other all our life. And I said, who are you? and she said, I'm a woman that was talking to you while you stood in line to ride the wagon. I said, oh, okay. I remember it then, but I had forgot about her. And anyway, we've been good friends ever since. This stuff's ready, y'all. Let me get a plate or that bowl that I got, and I'll show y'all what it looks like. Hang on a second. And I forgot, I just used my last paper towel, so I got to go in my storeroom and get a paper towel, a roll of paper towel, and then I'll be back. Y'all hang loose. See, I got it, like I said. Where the heck did I put that bowl? There it is over here. Over there be all. It's sitting over there be all. Right there. Put some paper towel on the bottom to absorb some of that oil. I'll strain it out the best I can, but there'll still be something in there, so that'll take care of it. Let me get rid of this big old lid. Well, I told y'all the guy that owned this house before me, he just bought it to renovate. He flips houses all the time and still does. But he put a new fridge and a new stove and a new dishwasher in just before I bought it. But it had electric stove, and I don't like electric stove, so I gave it to a friend's daughter. A friend has a gas station and a convenience store here in town, and his daughter had just moved out of the house and she needed all that stuff, and so I gave her that stove. It was brand new, and I bought me this nice gas stove. All right, y'all, and I cooked my okra. We all can't see it there in this big pot. See that? It's about 4 or 5 inches deep, and that way it doesn't splatter oil all over my stove. This stove is 4 years old now, and it looks brand new. I keep it clean. Same thing with that fridge. I've seen some people's fridge that I wouldn't eat the food out of it because it's so dirty. But mine looks brand new. Same thing with this stove. So this bowl's just barely gonna hold it all. But I'm fixing to eat half of it, so it'll have plenty of room to spend the night and have fun, and I'll probably eat the other half for breakfast tomorrow. And I usually don't eat breakfast, but I love fried okra, so I probably will tomorrow. I'm surprised I hadn't cooked any fried okra all year. Well, it's one of my favorite meals. I got some I got some in the freezer from last year, but it's I got a chest freezer, and it's way down at the bottom, and so going out there and picking it off the stalks and throwing a little cornmeal on it, cutting it up, throwing a little cornmeal on it, a whole lot easier than empty that freezer out to get stuff. I wanted to get an upright freezer. I had a big brand new one back in Texas, a big upright, and those are a whole lot easier to get stuff in and out of, but I couldn't afford one up here, y'all. Goodness gracious. But anyway, that's it. Time for me to eat now. Thanks for watching me cook. God bless you, friends.